Welcome back to the Deep Dive, and a special shout out to all the LACC students tuning in from Professor Seti's Abnormal Psych class. We're jumping right into Module 2.
Yeah, Module 1, that was sort of setting the stage, looking at the big landscape of psychopathology.
Right.
Now, Module 2 is all about the toolkit.
Yeah.
We're equipping you with the research methods and the ethical framework you absolutely need.
Think of it like getting your maps and compass.
Exactly. And this isn't just abstract stuff for exams. This is the blueprint for understanding behavior for your careers, whether you end up in, research, clinical work, or even just understanding your own family better right here in LA.
Totally. So our mission today is to take this course material and make it really practical. We want to show you why thinking like a scientist and, maybe even more importantly, acting ethically. Well, it's the key to unpacking everything that comes next in the course.
Couldn't agree more.
So where do we start? The absolute foundation, right? The scientific method.
Yes, the scientific method. It's fundamentally about being rigorous and being willing to be wrong. It's this ongoing cycle. You have ideas, theories, hypotheses,
Okay.
and you constantly test them against what you can actually observe, against reality. It's about refining knowledge, not just sticking to assumptions.
Because if you're just going on gut feelings or assumptions, well, good luck understanding something as complex as human behavior.
Precisely. And a key part of this is understand the difference between two words people often mix up, hypothesis and theory.
Ah, yeah, that's a big one.
It really is.
Yeah.
So think of a theory as the big, well-established explanation. It's like a comprehensive map built from lots of evidence. It explains a broad range of observations. It's the why.
Okay, the big picture.
Right. Then the hypothesis.
Yeah.
That's your specific, testable prediction based on that theory. It's like picking a very specific route on that map to test.
So, like, the theory might be about how, say, lack of sleep impacts cognitive function generally, but the hypothesis could be students who sleep less than 6 hours before an exam will score lower than those who sleep 8 hours. That's testable.
Exactly. You test that specific prediction. The results then either support the bigger theory or they force you to say, maybe we need to adjust the map a bit.
Makes sense. But for any of this testing to be actually considered scientific, this course highlights 4 key principles, like pillars holding it up.
Yes, these are essential. The first one is verifiability. Basically, can someone else repeat your experiment and, ideally, get similar results?
Replication.
Got it. Second, predictability. Does the theory actually allow us to make predictions about what might happen in the future?
Seems straightforward. But the third one, falsifiability. This one feels, I don't know, counterintuitive, but really important.
It's arguably the most critical for separating science from non-science. Falsifiability means your idea must be capable of being proven wrong through observation or experiment.
So you have to be able to imagine an outcome that would actually disprove your idea.
Precisely. If you come up with an idea that's so vague or flexible that no possible evidence could ever contradict it, well, it might be interesting, it might be a belief, but it's not a testable scientific claim. This is huge in psychology, where we deal with complex internal states.
Okay. So verifiability, predictability, falsifiability. What's the fourth?
Fairness. This means you have to consider all the data impartially. You can't just cherry-pick the results that support your hypothesis and ignore the ones that don't. You have to fight your own confirmation bias.
Right. We all want our ideas to be right, but science demands we look at everything.
Exactly. So with that scientific framework in mind, let's talk about the actual tools researchers use, the methods.
Okay, the toolkit.
Broadly, we can group them into 3 main types: descriptive, correlational, and experimental.
Let's start with descriptive research. This sounds like what it is. Just describing things.
Pretty much. It's about observing and recording behavior as it naturally occurs. It gives us a starting point, a rich picture. This includes things like clinical or case studies.
Like focusing really intensely on one person or a small group.
Yes, especially useful for rare conditions or unique situations. Think of Freud's early work, largely based on case studies. Descriptive methods also include digging through existing records, that's archival research,
Okay.
or simply watching people or animals in their natural environment, naturalistic observation. Like observing stress behaviors on the LACC campus during finals week without interfering.
Huh. Yeah, probably a lot to observe there.
I imagine so. And surveys, of course, asking people directly about their attitudes or behaviors. These descriptive methods can also track things over time.
Right, like longitudinal research, that's when you follow the same group of people for a long period.
Exactly. Maybe tracking that same LACC cohort's mental health from their first year all the way through graduation. You see individual change trajectories.
Versus cross-sectional research, which is more like a snapshot.
Right. You might compare stress levels of first year, second year, and graduating students all at the same time to see if there are differences between those groups right now.
Okay, so descriptive gives us the what, what's happening. But it doesn't tell us if things are connected, does it?
No, it doesn't. For that, we need to move to correlational research. This is where we examine the relationship between two or more variables. Are they linked? Do they change together?
This is where we get the correlation coefficient, the R value.
Exactly. That R value tells us two things: the strength and the direction of the relationship. It ranges from -1 to +1.
So a value close to +1 means a strong positive correlation. Like as one variable goes up, the other tends to go up too.
Correct. Maybe number of hours studied positively correlates with exam grades, or maybe time spent commuting in LA traffic positively correlates with stress levels.
I believe that one. And close to -1 means a strong negative correlation. As one goes up, the other goes down.
Yes. Perhaps number of supportive friendships negatively correlates with symptoms of depression. More friends, fewer symptoms.
And if R is close to 0,
Then there's basically no linear relationship between the variables. Maybe shoe size and IQ score, you wouldn't expect a connection.
okay, this seems super useful for identifying patterns, maybe predicting things.
It is. Correlational research has huge predictive value. If you know two things are strongly correlated, knowing one can help you predict the other.
But, and this is the giant flashing warning sign, isn't it?
This is the absolute crucial takeaway. Correlation does not equal causation. Just because two things move together doesn't mean one causes the other.
This is the confounding variable problem.
Precisely. There might be some hidden outside factor, a confounding variable that's actually influencing both of the things you're measuring.
The classic example is ice cream sales and drowning rates correlating in the summer.
Right. They both go up together.
Hmm.
But eating ice cream doesn't cause drowning. The confounding variable is hot weather, which increases both ice cream consumption and swimming activities.
So applying that to psychology, maybe you find a correlation between anxiety and social media use among teens?
You might find a strong one, but you can't automatically say social media causes the anxiety or that anxiety causes people to use more social media.
Mhm.
The confounding variable could be anything from underlying loneliness to academic pressure to family issues,
Mm-hmm.
something else driving both patterns.
Okay, so correlation shows links, predicts patterns, but can't nail down cause and effect. So how do we determine causality? What's the method for that?
That requires experimental research. This is the only method that allows us to really test for cause and effect relationships.
Because you're not just observing anymore, you're actively doing something.
Exactly. The researcher manipulates one variable, which we call the independent variable, or IV. This is the potential cause.
The thing you change or control.
Right. And then you measure the effect of that manipulation on another variable, the dependent variable, or DV.
Ah.
This is the effect you're measuring.
Okay, IV is manipulated, DV is measured.
And to do this properly, you need control. You need at least two groups. The experimental group, which gets the manipulation, the treatment, the IV.
This thing you're pesting.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the control group, which doesn't get the manipulation, they provide a baseline for comparison.
And crucially, people have to be put into these groups randomly. Random assignment.
Absolutely critical. Every participant has an equal chance of being in either group. This helps ensure the groups are, on average, similar at the start, so any difference we see later is likely due to the IV, not some pre-existing difference.
Makes sense. What about the placebo effect?
Yes, very powerful. People's expectations can strongly influence outcomes. So the control group often receives a placebo, a fake treatment like a sugar pill in a drug study.
So if the group getting the real drug improves significantly more than the placebo group, you have stronger evidence the drug itself is working.
Exactly. It controls for the effect of just believing you're getting treatment. And to take it a step further, we often use double-blind studies.
That's where neither the participant nor the researcher interacting with them knows who's getting the real treatment and who's getting the placebo.
Correct. This controls for bias on both sides, participant expectations and researcher expectations potentially influencing the results, even unconsciously.
Wow. Okay. So experimental design is pretty rigorous. Lots of controls needed to really isolate cause and effect.
It has to be, to make strong causal claims. But all these methods, all this data collection, It means nothing if it's not done ethically.
Right. We've talked about how to do the research, but now we need to talk about how to do it responsibly. The moral compass part.
This is non-negotiable in psychology. Past ethical failures led to strict standards today. Protecting human dignity and safety is paramount.
So, what are the core ethical requirements for research with people?
Number one is informed consent. Participants must be fully informed about what the study involves, any potential risks or benefits, and that they can withdraw at any time without penalty. They then sign a consent form.
They have to know what they're getting into, and they always have the right to walk away.
Always. Sometimes, to maintain the integrity of this study, some level of deception might be necessary, but it has to be justified, cause no harm, and be followed by a full debriefing afterward, explaining the true nature of the study and why deception was used.
Okay. And there are committees that oversee this stuff, right, to make sure researchers are following the rules.
Absolutely. For human research, there's the Institutional Review Board, or IRB. Any institution conducting research, like a university or hospital, have an IRB. They review every single research proposal involving humans to ensure it meets ethical standards before it begins.
No IRB approval, no study.
Correct. And for animal research, there's a similar committee, the Institutional Animal Care and Use Committee, or IACUC. They ensure animals, primarily rodents and birds in psych research, are treated humanely.
So oversight is built into the system now.
Yes. And beyond specific research rules, the entire profession is guided by ethical codes, like the APA Code of Conduct. This lays out principles like beneficence, doing good, fidelity and responsibility, integrity, justice, and respect for people's rights and dignity.
Fidelity and responsibility. That sounds really relevant for students thinking about becoming professionals. What does that involve?
It's about establishing relationships of trust, being aware of your professional and scientific responsibilities to society, upholding professional standards, managing conflicts of interest, basically acting reliably and ethically in your professional role. Building that trustworthy professional identity starts now.
It really underscores that this isn't just academic. These ethical principles become incredibly high stakes when they intersect with real-world situations, especially with the law, right? Like some of the things mentioned later in the module.
Oh, absolutely. The intersection of abnormal psychology, ethics, and the law is where things get incredibly complex, and the consequences are profound, especially in a dynamic place like LA.
What's a major example of that? The course mentions the duty to warn or protect.
Yes, the Tarasoff rule, essentially.
Yeah.
This is a landmark legal concept. It means that if a mental health professional determines their patient presents a serious danger of violence to another identifiable person, they have a legal duty to take steps to protect the intended victim.
So that means breaking confidentiality.
It can, yes. It pits the ethical principle of confidentiality against the duty to protect potential victims from serious harm. Knowing when and how to navigate that is one of the most challenging ethical tightropes a clinician walks. Get it wrong, and the legal and human consequences can be devastating.
That's incredibly heavy. What about situations where someone needs treatment but won't or can't consent? Involuntary commitment.
Right, also called civil commitment. This is a legal process, not just a clinical decision. If an individual with a severe mental disorder is deemed, usually by a court, to be an imminent danger to themselves or others, they can be legally required to undergo psychiatric treatment, even against their will.
Again, balancing individual liberty with safety.
Always a difficult balance. And then there are the legal defenses related to mental state in criminal cases.
Like the insanity defense. We hear about that a lot, but it seems really complex.
It is. It's an affirmative defense, meaning the defendant admits they committed the act, but argues they shouldn't be held legally responsible because a psychiatric disorder prevented them from knowing right from wrong or controlling their actions at the time of the crime.
So it's about their mental state back then, not now.
Correct. Psychologists might be called in to evaluate this, considering legal standards like the Durham Rule or the ALI standard. It's distinct from competence to stand trial. Competence is about the defendant's mental state now. Can they understand the charges against them and participate meaningfully in their own defense? If not, the trial might be delayed until competency is restored. It's a different legal question than insanity.
Got it. So many layers where psychology, ethics, and the law intertwine.
Absolutely. So look, we've covered a lot, from the rigor of the scientific method to differentiating correlation and causation, avoiding confounding variables, the necessity of experimental